Live from Canada, it's the SSN Podcast with your host, Larcher, Colin, Michael, hello everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I am one of your bumbling hosts. I fell to pieces with my words. That's like the first time I think I've ever fucked up the intro. Let's do it again. We're doing it again. Fuck it. We're doing it again. Live from Canada, it's the SSN Podcast with your host, Larcher, Colin, Michael,
Cut thing. Cut.
hello everybody, and welcome back to the Select Start Network. As you saw, there are no mistakes. Everything was fine. I'm, me. No liberty. Liberty is unfortunately got bit by a raccoon that fell from his ceiling, and he stubbed his toe. So he's been mutilated and burned just to make sure that the zombie apocalypse does not spread. So instead, I do have the returning hosts of Michael W. Dwyer and Burnsy 8B on my sides here.
Burnsy 8B.
Call me by my electronic name. All right. I'm not mad at it.
Well, it's just earlier, just before we went live, I'm like, okay, I gotta remember what everyone's Twitter handles are. And I'm like, all right, so Michael, I'm like, all right, I know Collins, because I always think it's Colin C. Burns. I'm like, no, it's now Burnsy 8B. I'm like, all right, that's good. Michael, that's 2. But he uses none of them. So I was like, all right, well, I'm like, Michael, which one do you want? Yeah, he's like, well, I got Commander Gino, but I never used that one. I'm like, all right, so, Mike W. Dwyer. But then he's like, yeah, I got that one. I never used that one either. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just using whichever one I want right now.
You should have used both. Just put them both in there. That would be fun.
Yeah, make it like as if there's more than 3 hosts. Yeah, sure,
yeah, exactly.
That'll go well with the fucking audience. Oh, my God. But yeah, Liberty is out of action because I believe he is celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday, dear Libertron.
Happy birthday.
Oh, man.
It's tomorrow, but yeah.
It's Sunday.
His name is Liberty, born on the 4th of July.
Yeah. I'm trying to avoid that poor man.
Nah.
But he's celebrating today because, no one wants to celebrate a birthday on a Sunday where you can't have fun. So, have a good one, buddy. I hope you enjoy yourself. It is also Tom's father's birthday this weekend, so he's also gone, which is also why tomorrow he will be stubbed in the toe and mutilated by a bear, and he may rest in peace tomorrow, which is why he's not here tonight. Today as a sub-in, he's gone to camp with his father to go ahead and celebrate his birthday as well. So happy birthday to Papa Vogel, and happy birthday to Libertron. I hope you guys have yourselves a great day. Don't party too hardy, all right? No, Lib is not No, but nonetheless, even though we are a 3-man crew, we've done it with 2-man. For fuck's sakes, I've done it as a 1-man crew a long time ago. The podcast is still going to happen. We're going to have ourselves a good time. And there's been, I don't know how else to say this, but like a lot of things happening, but that are not really important, but some that needs to be discussed. And then like one very serious note, which will be then actually segued into another topic that I would like to have a discussion about. But to start it off, gentlemen, how are you? How are you today? Good.
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm feeling excited. I got my second dose earlier today. I'm feeling great.
Now, do you mean
the light at the end of the tunnel?
Do you mean your second dose of coffee? Because there's something that might have happened before the podcast started.
I thought we were yeah. So it was 5 minutes before the podcast started, or was basically when the podcast was about to start. I knocked over my cup of coffee, and I had to spend like 5 minutes just wiping down the entire top of my desk and the floor underneath it. It was a goddamn mess, and I'm just way too clumsy, and it's teaching me the lesson that I need to clean off my desk because I have way too much shit on here.
Now, the best part in all this is this man was prepared and ready because he had on his side a roll of paper towel. Just like, see, now that's on his bed right now. But beforehand, that was literally
it was right that it was on the mini fridge that's right beside my desk. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, I'm messy. Sometimes I use paper towels as plates, like as a plate, so I'll eat off it. It's just nice to have a paper towel on my desk.
What else you got on there though? You don't just have the paper towels. You also have.
Okay, y'all are making jokes because there's also like listen. I don't even. Okay, it's not even for that. All right, I get dry hands. I work in a warehouse. I move shit all the time. I have dry hands.
Yes,
That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, when you have self-love, sometimes you don't want that roughness. You just want that silky smooth touch of a woman, but all you got is your hand and some lotion.
I can't even improv my way out of this. I'm just in a hole right now. Y'all are making fun of me.
Oh my God.
Y'all are making fun of me for something y'all do too. Come on.
Well, here, don't worry. Look, are you kidding me, Colin? Every fucking week, every time I go on the air, if I'm streaming, there is something that people are just using against me. So the fact that there is this one time, this marvelous time that you presented me on a silver platter, lotion, paper towels, and you're at your computer. I mean, and your technical things being sticky.
That's fair. These jokes were handed to you guys on the silver platter. I can't fight against them.
Yeah. No.
Oh man. But other things. Speaking of things that have been served on a silver platter, there's been a couple of things that have happened recently, and one of the things that have happened for me personally is I've been slowly. Actually, I don't even think I can say slowly anymore. I've aggressively switched on to having a second primary game for an FPS shooter FPS, because saying that is redundant, so, for an FPS, which is the form of Apex Legends. I don't know what happened, but it kind of started when the Arenas mode came out like about a month ago now. And I was playing it, and I had a good time. I had a very competitive feel because it was a 3v3 elimination, one life setup. And it's kind of in the sense of like your CSGO, your Siege, your Valorant, and all that jazz. But obviously with the flair and twist of Apex. So abilities, health kits, all that stuff. And I went ahead. I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. Let's see what this is. It got me back interested into it. But then the more I played, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of done with arenas. Like, it's fun, it's okay, but let's see. Like, I need something more, because in all honesty, for me, the competitive side was intriguing at first, but I'm like, this is just, it's not enough. Like, I get more of a kick, I guess you could say, with Siege, because Siege is very tactical. It's very like, you need to have your setup, you need to have your partner, like your team, working together to complete the goal. And when you do it, I've said this 1,000 fucking times, and I'll say it again. It is the highest of highs when you get that win, or if you get that clutch, like that happened. I think it happened off stream. I can't. No, maybe one happened on stream, where it ended up being like a 1v4 for me, and I just knocked them all out. And I was like, fuck yes. And like, I literally went, yeah, like it was just like a quick play, but it didn't matter. Like, you just fucking felt it in your jimmies. You know what I mean? It was just there. Which is very fun. But then I'm like, all right, let's try some battle royale. And I don't know what happened, man. I think really what brought me back in, and it was a joke at first, but I really, really enjoyed it. There's a new legend. Well, not new, I guess, anymore. Last season's legend. Colin will know who it is. It's Fuse. And Fuse is an Australian legend in the game, and one of his things that I love so goddamn much, I don't know why I do it. I don't know why I love it, but what got me to stick in the game was every time he dibs an item, he goes, hands off, that's a present for Fuse. And it's like so like hard, generic Australian Aussie accent, and it clicked in like, oh my god, that's Matt. That's my Australian friend Matt. And I'm like, that's him. Like, that's literally what he sounds like. This is Matthew. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. And I was just playing more and more. And now it's to the point where, like, I can't put the game down. Like, I bought the battle pass, the premium side. I'm at level 78 of the 100. Like, I'm grinding out that. And it's just been, like, an experience. But with that, I'm not just talking about the game and how great it is, because it is an amazing, great game. Became an issue of people kind of how do I say this? I realized there's a certain thing that would happen, like if I would pick, we'll say, the Spitfire. people will be like, "Oh my god, you're picking the Spitfire? That gun is so trash." Da 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 da. Or I pick whatever other gun, like the R301. And be like, "Oh my god, that's such a bog standard gun." Da 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 da. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't just happen in Apex. It happens in Siege, where like people will pick, as an example, I'm just throwing this one out there, Ash before she got nerfed with her G4C. If you were to pick the G38, G30 or G36, I think it's G36C. People are like, why are you picking that one? The R4C, such a superior gun. Da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, you're dumb. Don't do that. Da da. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, why? Why is that such a big deal? Like, why does it matter?
Who are you playing with? Who are you playing with that you're hearing all these comments? Because I've been playing Apex. I started off playing the first couple seasons, then I took a long break from it and played the last couple seasons. I haven't heard anything like that from anyone I play with.
Unfortunately, it's not just the people that I play with. Most of them are good. Most of them, if someone brings it up in the group, it's because they're joking. Some people are not. Some people are very just forefront with it. But the biggest issue that I've seen online, is specifically for Apex, is like online content creators will literally bash people if they play the Spitfire. And I don't know what it is. It's because it's a low fire rate. Technically, the Spitfire is not the fastest gun, but because it's a lower fire rate, it has very little recoil. It's pretty fucking accurate. And it does a decent amount of damage. So it becomes it's the baby gun of Apex. If you're not a real player, just play the baby gun, and then you'll be good to go. Like, you can go on Twitter or on Reddit, and you will see people now latch onto this mentality of like, oh, I'm a Apex Predator, and I'll never fucking touch the Spitfire. I'll only use the Devotion or the Pet-de-pa. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, what is this mentality? So I had to make a tweet today, just being like, dear insert game title, like whatever competitive FPS player game, like, don't bash people for fucking picking up a gun that they like. Like, who fucking cares? It doesn't affect your life. Let them be. And if they win with it, it just means that they're better than you, and then just get better next time. Maybe pick up that gun, right?
Yeah, gatekeeper's gonna gatekeep, I guess, because I try to stay away from that kind of mentality in any game I play, because you kind of see it in some places, but I just ignore it. It's just gatekeepers trying to gatekeep, trying to have their thing be their thing, and trying to like make whatever choices they make for whatever reason. They're trying to use that as an excuse to put themselves above everyone else. Like, oh, use that gun, that's trash. I use this gun, so I'm better than you. It's just them being dicks.
Yeah, it is this. Yeah, like, I mean, Michael, you've played Arma 3, you've played Arma 2, Arma 3, DayZ, DayZ if you're Canadian, PlanetSide 2. Like, you've like Halo. You and I used to play Halo together. Like, we've gone through the gamut of weapons and all that jazz. I don't think you've ever played COD though, eh?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
A little bit, like the early on CODs, like maybe Modern Warfare or something.
Yeah. Well,
like, it feels like I've just gone through so many of these goddamn games that it's like a gun's a gun. Like, just Well, like, I understand that there are guns that like, oh, this has a better recoil. Maybe play this one. You know what I mean? Or use attachment on this gun and it gets, it'll be a lot better. But to call a gun trash, unless it's back in the day in Apex, unless it was the Mozambique, which used to be a 3-shot hand cannon, like a hand shotgun blast, that was bad. But you use that either to meme or because you had nothing else. Yeah, Mozambique. Like that.
The thing is like metagaming. That's what it is, right? Yeah. All these games, there's somebody that decides there's a cookie cutter for how to win, right? This is how it is. This is your box to win. If you do this, you'll always win, right? That's the mentality they push. That's the mentality everybody else picks up. And everybody else, well, if it's not in this box, because this pro gamer is only doing this box, then you suck or you're stupid, right? And then next thing you know, got a guy that uses the trash gun, quote unquote, wins, right? And then everybody, what do? They say, oh, that's stupid. That shouldn't happen. Blah blah blah. I've never been a meta player, man. It's like in PlanetSide 2. There's lots of people that are like, oh, use this gun. It's way better. Use this gun. It's way better. Blah blah blah. No, I want to use my gun. What I like to use. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I've won with guns that are considered trash just as much as the ones that are considered godlike, right? So I don't understand what meta playing is all about, because everything changes. Every situation is different. And sometimes you can have that meta, right, that just gets demolished by somebody that's uncouth and unorthodox builds, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why there's people that are so focused on, oh, meta's it. This is the meta. You got to do this or else.
Yeah.
No, that kills games. That's called toxic. That's a toxic mentality, right?
Now, I will say that that there is so meta gaming can be okay in certain forms. Like as an example, if you are completely don't know what to do, again, my example is always going to come to Siege because that's the game that I really play the most. You hop into a lobby, you don't know what to do, you don't know who to play. Everyone's gonna be like, all right, just and I hate this part, but they're like, just pick Thatcher, you're fine. Just pick Thatcher, use his EMP grenade, and then boom, your job's done. Like, okay, well, why? And then you learn, because this will counteract electric walls or the mute jammers, and then you start building from there, and then you can find out what your own kind of like plan of attack is, right? Because there are people that, and I will be one to admit this in a heartbeat, that the UMP in Siege is a very low rate of fire gun that feels like you're hitting people with peas. And that's just the fact in my mind. But I will not deny that that thing is a headshot machine if you hit your headshots. Because in Siege, it's a one-shot headshot game. So if you land that headshot, it doesn't matter what gun you're using, boom, that person is dead, right? So I've seen content creators like Macy J be so unique and so original with the Yump, or even with the I think it's the M18 shotgun. No, it's another shotgun that the FBI agents have, where like he will build this entire strategy around this gun and just lay waste to people in ways that you would not think that is possible. And it is so fun to watch. And it's like, maybe I'll try that myself. And then I try and I just shoot people in the chest or in the testes and I get killed. Because, that's how I play the game.
Yeah.
but
it's just like Smite.
Yeah.
Right? Smite, same thing, right? You end up not sure what to do. So you go on Smite Fire. Smite Fire is really meta game building, right? Here's a meta. This is my meta. It's worked. It's done well. It's got so many likes to it. So people are like, okay, well, I'll try that. But the whole thing is when you get stuck in a meta, right, where all your whole mentality is, if it's not a meta, you're bad. That's where the problem is, because those people aren't growing and they're not allowing or they're not encouraging growth, right, which is a toxic mentality and kills games. That's what kills games, right? Being creative actually keeps games going. And when communities in those games start going the other way, which is it's all about meta, like it's like PlanetSide 2, right? There for a while there was a huge thing where it's like meta or nothing, it's meta or nothing, and people were just leaving the game in droves, right?
I mean, hell,
I find when people are trying too hard to follow the meta, it limits people's options of experimenting with different loadouts. Because if a game has different loadouts, different weapons, different characters that are all kind of interchangeable, that allows players to find combinations and through those combinations to find playing strategies that kind of suits them and allows them to win. Because if the meta is like, oh, this gun, this loadout, this character is trash, everyone ignore it, but it might only just work for a certain type of player.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that works well with Revenant. There's a lot of people who don't like Revenant as a character in Apex Legends. But I feel like it just takes a certain type of player with a certain type of mentality and like understanding the battle to be able to actually succeed with them. So I don't think they're a trash character. They just take a certain type of person to use it.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Well, that's exactly it. 100%. Because you take 5 different people, 5 different characters, 5 different guns, right? They can each be just as good as each other, right? Even if one of them is considered trash, right? Because that person is so good with it, knows how to play it, knows how to use it effectively, knows their own meta to make it work, right? But that's what I'm saying, is you can't just get stuck in cookie cutters, because if you start doing that, and people are doing like that, right, where they're saying, oh, forget that character, he's garbage.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm playing Apex, I could not imagine using the character of Rampart, because it just tactically I wouldn't know what to do with her. But who I play with regularly, Anchovy, he's getting dubs left and right. He couldn't play any other character. So it really depends on the player.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of some of these games. Is like there's characters for every kind of player to be good, right? But they gotta go outside of those boxes that get created to do that, right? Those boxes are great to start, like Larcher is saying, but after that, if you're not trying to say, okay, well now that I've experimented with the box, now it's time to go somewhere else, see if I'm good anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
That's my argument.
Like one of my biggest things, two things that happened with me recently. We'll just say playing ranked or even unranked in Siege, in Cafe, when you're playing the top site, there's a mentality of, oh, you need these operators to do these certain things, excuse me, and like that's it. Like that's like you need like usually a smoke or someone to play Pixel Peak. You need someone to watch white, usually like maybe a Legion because they're mines and stuff, and that's the setup. And I started doing, well, no, how about I just use like, and then you would want to clear off certain areas, open it up so if people try to plant, you could see them and just shoot them from afar. And I'm like, okay, well, if we really need these holes to be made, or if we really need these tables to be destroyed so we could see through them, I'm gonna start playing Oryx. Oryx has the ability of just charging through things and just destroying, like making man-sized holes or bigger man-sized holes, because the guy's like fucking a jack like freaking the Hulk, you know what I mean? So like he makes big holes at the cost of losing a bit of health, but it's worth it because he can quickly make holes faster than any other operator and still have time to set up all the other things because of that dash ability of his. So what I started doing is, all right, well, I'm going to destroy this cocktail table where people normally plant. I'm going to clear off this side of bar. I'm going to make these two rotates, and I've lost maybe 20 health at most. I'm then going to go to Pixel Peak, and I'm going to ram through all the furniture that's there, destroy completely, and now there's even a smoother, more thin line of a Pixel Peak you can have in that corner now. And it's like, we're good to go. As long as someone watches the white staircase, I'm fine. Or the other example for us, Michael, is when we tried to do Conquest while you were streaming, and we got our shit pushed in twice because we were using the old meta, which we thought it was, two people on one side, you have your mage in the middle, your one warrior in the solo lane, then you have your jungler moving around. But something that we all noticed was like, oh, well, their mage, which is normally in the middle, where are they? I don't understand. There's no one. I'm here sitting by myself getting rid of the minions. I'm level 2 or 3. But then in walks in now from the side the mage that's supposed to be normally there, and they're like level 5. I'm like, what? Like, how are they that much stronger than me? Well, it turns out, I guess what the meta is now is literally you leave certain lanes uncontested, and you just rush the experience camps or whatever the camps there are there, and you, like, as a team or just as a solo person if you can, destroy those camps, get a lot more experience, you level up faster, so then when you come back into your lane, you punish whoever's there. Or you go with your jungler, and you now with your mage and jungler, you push that one lane that just has the warrior, wipe them out, get the tower. Like, it's just wow. And like that was something that we were not ready for both games. We just, like, only at the end did we finally connect the dots of, like, I guess that's what the new meta is. Like, I that's what it is now. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, again, though, it's not to say that the old meta doesn't work, because we had a game, right, with Al, you, me, Stefano, who else was there? Me, Al, Stefano, somebody else. Oh, it was,
Was it Zach?
I think it was Zach.
Yeah,
Zach was there, right? We were getting pushed in quite a bit until we reached the end, right? Like, we weren't doing terrible in comparison to that other game that you were talking about, but we ended up, coming together and pushing back and winning the game, right? And we played that, both sides were playing that meta that we were used to. So, but yeah, it's just this idea that we need to break through the meta, right? We need to set up saying, okay, here's the box, and that's it. But again, the argument is we should use the box until we're all comfortable. Because how many times have we played Conquest realistically? Like 2 or 3 times, right? So we got to stay with the box until we're all comfortable with how the box works, and then work outside of it. The guys we were playing with had obviously been playing for a lot longer. So they said, forget the box. We got a different box that we can use. And it's worked, obviously, because they've done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have thought to use the mage outside of that mid lane? it kind of makes sense when you think about it after the fact, like after we've been defeated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we would never have thought of it, but they did because they have the experience. They've done the box 1,000 times probably before. So eventually, yeah, we'll be able to even go beyond that meta that they did and have like, oh, the solo warrior isn't even in his lane. He's jungler. Go along with the jungler, and then you push the mid lane or blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
it is.
I'd say that was the perfect example of how a meta you can have different metas work, right? And like we're saying, just because a meta works for us doesn't mean it's going to work for the next guy, or vice versa. And to say that, oh, because a pro has done it, that's got to be the way to do it is wrong.
Yeah.
Because a pro, that's why they're pro with that character. They know how to use it. They're good with it. They've got the mentality for it. But if you take Colin or me and play that same character, same weapons, same stuff, we might suck, right? But then you get Larcher in there, and he might rock with it. It's like today. I was playing a Joust in Smite, and I was playing against a Hades. I would never have thought Hades, ever since being a mage, would have been as decent as they were. I was a Muzen cop, right? I was doing my little meta thing that I've kind of picked up to try and experiment and all that stuff, get used to the character. And this Hades was literally wrecking my crap every time I saw him because of how he was playing him.
Yeah.
He was playing him like a freaking pro. I've never seen a Hades that well before, right? Ever since he changed from a Guardian. So yeah, that's what I would say is the metas are different per person.
Yeah. I also hate the fact that you had to bring up Hades. I miss my Guardian Hades.
You should try him as a mage.
I did a while ago, like way back when like we were retrying again to play Smite, and unfortunately, I guess at the time I was still treating him like a Guardian where I'd push in and just get stepped on because like he's a squishy mage now, so he doesn't have as much defense and stuff. But I just have to look at him, figure out what the best way to use him is now, and how his abilities work with in tandem with probably another mage or a hunter or something, or maybe what's her name, Nox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You jump in,
that's
Nox
the thing.
jumps in, and then.
Well, that's the thing is this mage was initiating first. He would jump in first, then Ganesh would come in right after, and the Chiron would kind of be a little bit back. And every time they would kill one or two of us. Every time, and we wouldn't be able to kill him.
Okay.
So how that Ganesh was being built obviously played into it. So.
Yeah. What is not being built, unfortunately, is a segue, because I have no other way to say this, but I'm going to go with that. This is an unbuilt segue, which is still a segue in a sense, using the words that Michael just said. I want to move on to something that's, I mean, we all kind of agree with what we said here, so that's perfect, but something that's in the side of entertainment. Three things, one being very serious, the other one being disappointing, and the other one's a discussion that we can have, a real discussion. For those who don't know what's been happening lately, there isn't... Michael, you might not be aware of it because you're not really a pop culture kind of guy, so I could feel you on what's happening. Colin might have a better understanding if he's watched the Philip DeFranco show as of late. But Britney Spears has been asking quite a bit lately to be released from her father's conservatorship, which I didn't even know that was something that was a thing until like I read a bit more and watched the video about this. For those who don't know, a conservatorship is pretty much someone who, even though you're an adult, you may be deemed unsafe or unwell to take care of yourself financially, medically, psychologically, emotionally, in any kind of these aspects. So another adult will pretty much become your caregiver. This is not unlike parents taking care of their adults taking care of their parents or grandparents. Usually when they are, when they're too old to take care of themselves, like go to the bank, getting medical stuff, or just going for visits and whatnot. That's kind of the same idea, but you're a full-blown adult who's able to do whatever the hell you want. But you can't because the court has deemed it unsafe for you to do something like that. For those who don't know, I don't know how you don't know unless you were born in, 2010. Even then, growing up from 2010 to 2020, I'm sure you've heard the horror stories that Britney Spears has gone through, done to herself, and everything else in between. because she was a bit of a wreck, unfortunately, at a certain point where the people found that she might be a little bit unsafe to take care of her kids or herself. So her father kind of became the head honcho of how to rule everything for her. And from the experiences that Britney Spears is saying right now, that it's been an abusive and torturous relationship, to say it best, with her father because of the conservatorship. And she tried to plead to the court to be let go of this. And this is also happening, and I think it's actually kind of brilliant on Britney's part, roughly around the same time as that documentary that was released that talked about how Britney Spears was treated in the media's eye. How, because I mean, Britney Spears was like the hotness for years. Like, people were so focused on everything that she does.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That it literally broke her. It would break almost anyone under that much limelight. Like, it's insane. And she ended up by having some terrible choices that she made that she's admitted that were not the best choices in her life. And she's been trying to recuperate from it ever since. And it's also this documentary, I think, also shows, if I'm not mistaken, how like her managers, publicists, her parents, or her father specifically, literally treated her like she was an object and not a human being. To benefit themselves. And now, with all that finally being on the eyes of Britney, and people like are now tweeting, "Save Britney! Britney needs help!" All that stuff. She's now being like, "Okay, here's my chance." Like, finally, for once, the people are on my side, not calling me crazy Britney or like doing this for attention, Britney, and all that. She takes that and finally goes public, going to the courts. She's tried this before in the past, but without success. Hoping now, with everything that's happened, that she can convince the courts of letting the conservatorship that her father has over her go. Because this man, allegedly, this is according to Britney Spears, has control on whether or not she can go out to get groceries by herself, if she can go see her boyfriend, if her and her boyfriend can have a child, to conceive a child. She's forced to be put into therapeutic or therapy help. I don't know if therapeutic would be the right word, right? Therapy, whatever.
Yeah.
She has to go see therapy. She has to go to therapy.
Yeah, there. Go therapy.
And be put on these medications without her consent. Like, she has to do it by court law. And she has revealed that this whole time it's been benefiting him, because not only does that all of those things are happening, she also has no power over her financials or her real estate.
Yeah.
Like, her father lives in her house and stuff, or in the homes that she owns. And
And lives off her money too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, leeching off of her success, a success that she was molded and forced to do, but nonetheless, it's her success. And now it's gone to the point where she wants to break free from it, and has pleaded publicly to the world to see. Unfortunately, the court denied it, and I am flabbergasted as to why.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I talked a lot about this. I'll say my thoughts afterwards, but what do you guys feel about what's happening here?
I only have a passing knowledge. Basically, everything that you've just said is all that I know about the case. I haven't done any specific reading. I haven't watched a Phil DeFranco show. I also understand there was a recording of her plea to the judge.
Yeah.
I was told by a couple people to listen to it, and I haven't, sadly. But from my understanding, it's an absolutely horrific thing that she's going through. Mm-hmm. She has no autonomy of her own. She isn't legally able to do anything that an adult can do. She's completely lost her freedom. Yeah. And while the system that exists to do what was being done for her should only be done in the most extreme cases. And from what I understand, it was put into effect on her because of the meltdown that she had 2007, 2008-ish, in which she was they deemed her to be dangerous to herself and to her children and the people around her, so that's why it was put into place. It's been 12, 13 years since that now, and if she's sober, if she's functioning well enough to make these pleas and that, she should absolutely have her autonomy. And it's really scary to see someone going through that, especially someone of her stature, especially someone as in the public eye and beloved by a lot of people as she is. Because the thing is that this opens up for me is if this is happening to her, how many people is this happening to that we don't know about, that don't have the big public persona, and it's just a scary thing to think about.
Well, you think of it. This is actually it's a form. It's worse than a form of house arrest, right? Not only are you under arrest, right? You're under arrest by somebody you know, and you don't have any of the freedoms. Period. Like at least house arrest people still can get and control their own finances, right? Still have their own real estate, right? Like you live in your house. But the fact that she is essentially robbed from all of that is the biggest problem I find with it. I mean, this is one of the arguments that I would say, okay, in a feminist mentality, this would be one of those cases that really needs to be put into the limelight and said, yes, this is a problem. This is where feminism really should be attacking the problem of a patriarchy, because realistically, I think that's pretty much what's happening. Is the judge is on father's side, right? Because well, she was crazy before.
Yeah.
So dad's been taking care of her. Dad says she's not ready. She's not ready. That's it. Boom. Right. But now the other thing with that is there should be, like all crime, like all kinds of things. I guess I should look in the camera. There should be limits, right? Time limits on everything. There's a time limit on even the death sentence or the life sentences, right? There's limits on even house arrests. There are basically this how long you got. The fact that she doesn't have that is a big problem, because there's no way you can realistically say that anything over 5 years is reasonable for a situation of a conservative at all. Period. After 5 years, if she hasn't been clean, she should be going through a review, and then let the judges and the court decide. Right? The fact that she even got denied any kind of chance is absolutely abhorrent. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, I think you've kind of hit the nail in the coffin there. It's this idea of she doesn't even have a chance to. I don't want to call it a probation period, but we'll just call it that for the sake of discussion. If she could have a probation period where she would still have to be mandated to go see a therapist or a psychiatrist, not of her father's choosing, something that is court mandated, that is a third party, totally impartial, has nothing to do with them, to come in and review, either a week by week, month by month, whatever it is, and then within 6 months to a year, determine, yes, Britney is able to do these things on her own. And during that time, give her, whether it's a portion of control, so like she has access to a certain amount of money from her finances, she can maybe not, procreate right now, because that one's a big one, but at least be able to go out when she wants and just like test the waters and see how it goes. This idea of you're literally a prisoner within your own life is beyond me. When you are not, it's theoretically, because we still don't know the full story, right? This is all Britney's side, but it's been years that it's been reporting that James Spears is not the nicest person in the world. But still, this is the one side of the story, which unfortunately I don't think we'll ever hear his side, which really damns him. In all of this, besides him just saying that's not true, that's not enough, that's like you need more than that to help your case. But we'll see how it goes. It is this moment of I hope the truth gets let out, not to us, but at least to the courts, and there's a solution that is beneficial for her, even if it's not even her father being the conservatorship anymore. And I guess when he fell ill, by the way, the conservatorship got transferred over to his girlfriend, which is beyond me. That is bananas. Like, I don't know how, like, that someone who's not even family just gets transferred over the conservatorship to a girlfriend. I like, maybe they've been together for years, so the title girlfriend is not common law. I would wish they would use the word common law, but they use the word girlfriend, so for me that sounds short term, like very short term. But the fact that they would do that instead of looking at the idea of, well, maybe Britney can just be Britney, blows my mind. Just blows my mind.
Even then, there are people in all walks of life that are allowed to make mistakes, big mistakes, and still have control over their life.
Yep.
Like, we're talking about even teenagers who have kids young, right, and are having problems with alcohol and drugs. They can still have a life. They don't have to go through conservatorships. It's only until you get a celebrity that all of a sudden you have a conservatorship. Like, term and that whole concept shouldn't even exist anymore. If Britney done messed up and continues to mess up, that's her mess up that she has to deal with, just like we all have to. And if she dies as a result of it, guess what? That's the consequences she's going to have to deal with, right? To say that she's not capable enough as a human being to make her own terrible mistakes and continue to make them or get better, like that's a problem, right? Therapy, fine. Go ahead, force therapy on her. But to go so far as to essentially create a house arrest or a quasi house arrest slash like civil liberty removal is
Yeah.
blows my mind. Blows my mind. In a Western society, no less.
Yeah.
I could see that coming from China, sure, because they have mentalities surrounding honor, family honor, all that stuff, and they're very much authoritarian. But in
Not
the
here.
U.S.,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? The country that's all about freedom?
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, you know what is free and something that will blow your mind is the segue I did to our sponsors.
Oh no. Oh
Yep.
God.
Yep,
God,
baby.
man.
That was
Oh.
You're welcome.
picked-
You're welcome.
I picked my moment and I picked it wrong, but I'm still gonna go with it. This
Oh.
episode of the SSN Podcast is brought to you by us, SSN. More specifically, patreon.com/select start network, where at the live and uncut mark, you can go ahead and get access to what this is normally behind that tier. Podcast live, uncut, with some of the dumbest things you'll ever hear like this, with a post show. You also get access to the edited ad-free versions, video and audio. You get 10% discounts on in the merch store. You also get to participate once this community grows and grows more because you're beautiful bastards. You're all schmucks and I love you all. We get to have content specifically just for Patreon members, like Let's Plays, other supplementary podcasts like PUI, Podcasting Under the Influence, which we actually do have a Patreon goal. If you reach it, Tom and I will go ahead and have that podcast. For those who don't know, Podcasting Under the Influence is an old podcast that Tom and I used to do, where we would get incredibly drunk and discuss whatever. Like, it was literally a stream of consciousness that one podcast lasted 3 hours, and I think the other one lasted 5 to 6 hours. It was a Joe Rogan style of like experience podcast where it never ended, and people watched us for some reason. It was amazing, and you know, if we hit those goals, we will bring that back. Also, you get to, like I said, you get that merch discount, which is always nice because there's some new stuff coming to the store soon, so keep an eye out for that. But other than that, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you all. Enjoy this. Oh, also, one extra tidbit. Because we do not have Snatum tomorrow to continue the free weekend experience extravaganza, next weekend as well will be free weekend access. We're going to give it to you for 2 weekends in a row because we love you and we want you guys to have the fair share of experiencing both podcasts in succession. That being said, I'm not going to be like, Saturday is a no. Saturday is locked. And then Sunday is free. No, that's dumb. We're just going to do it for both days. So enjoy that next weekend. End of the promo. What time is it?
Nice.
56:10. All right, I got to mark that down. That is for me for later so that I know how to cut this out. My promos have been getting longer and longer. My ad reads. I've just been adding more and more and more into it. But here we go. To move on to the next subject, there's a couple of trailers that were posted in the discussion thread. One of them we already talked about, which is the Suicide Squad. Then there was, I didn't know what this was until I watched it, because like I didn't pay attention to, like, I saw the name Snake Eyes and I can't read what the rest of it said, so I played it. My mouse is my mouse is going on screen right now. I didn't realize that. I guess it's OBS still picks it up. Sorry everyone. But it's it's the Snake Eyes trailer for G.I. Joe. Like, it's an origin story for this guy, which I didn't realize we needed that. I didn't realize that was a thing. And watching it, I'm like, why? What is,
Why not?
I just think,
why not pick a random G.I. Joe character and just give him an origin story?
Like,
Well, it's not a random one; it's one of those badass ones.
Yeah.
If you can make a Fast and Furious 9, you can do anything. Okay.
Is that the world that we live in right now? Is that like, because like Fast and Furious is also done by Paramount, correct? Or is it Universal?
Yeah. Oh no.
Universal.
It is
Universal.
Universal.
Okay. Okay, so it's Universal. So it's this idea of like this exaggerated franchise like Fast and Furious to go this far down. But it's also been, how many years has it been since what is it, G.I. Joe Retribution or whatever?
Oh yeah.
That was like in 2010, 20.
Like, let's figure this out right now.
2009.
G.I. Joe
Something like that.
Retaliation.
2013.
20. It has been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Since the last G.I. Joe, which, by the way, Retaliation also starred The Rock. The Rock's everywhere. Motherfucker's everywhere. And he's in the Fast series now. But the point being, are people clamoring almost 10 years later for Snake Eyes origin?
Mm.
Like, is this because Hobbs and Shaw was a thing? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling it goes to the whole, like, well, Marvel can keep throwing out this kind of like, oh, here's another story from this perspective or this character. We can do it too. Like, that's just the mentality I think Hollywood's having in general. It's just, well, they can do that. We can do it too. Well, they can do that. We can do it too. And now we're just getting ridiculous.
They're just looking for any excuse they can to throw out an action movie. And this is coming on the tails of, because a while ago, like after Retaliation came out, they announced they were going to do a G.I. Joe Transformers combination movie, and that ended up never happening. And I think they also announced the Dwayne Johnson G.I. Joe spinoff, him as fucking whatever character he was playing.
Yeah,
that never happened. So this is just like coming on the tail end of like, oh, we're trying to do this spinoff, nope, that didn't work. Trying to do this spinoff, nope, didn't work. Snake Eyes, oh, it's working, all right, and they're just kind of throwing out an action movie. Why not?
So it's funny that you mentioned like the idea of like these crossovers, like G.I. Joe and Transformers. There was a while back the idea of merging 21 Jump Street with Men in Black.
Yeah,
that movie was going to be hot garbage, but I would have loved every fucking second of it.
And like, if you could have gotten, honestly, even at this point now, if you could get me Chris Hemsworth, like Men in Black International, which I think got shat on unrighteously. I think that movie was a good film. I actually enjoyed that one. Also because of the leads. I mean, they were super charismatic and they were super, like, they're just the rock stars, both of them. But if you could give me those two with 21 Jump Street, or if you could somehow convince Tommy Lee Jones to be in fucking a 21 Jump Street movie with Will Smith, where they both take the shrooms or the whatever that is that they take in the first one to get high. Oh my god, I'd be so fucking in. That'd be the best. That being said, Snake Eyes, it just seems like Paramount ran out of ideas. They didn't know what to release right now, and they're like, well, hold on a second. We got this old script that's been sitting here for almost 8 years. I guess we can finally do it. Like, and it's also, and this is not, I guess this is me kind of putting the conspiracy hat on, maybe, I don't know, but it is also around the same time that the Legend of the Ten Rings is coming out, where like it's a prominent Asian lead role. A lot of, and I think this is a good thing, like I love this idea of like Crazy Rich Asians. There's a lot more non-Caucasian, non-white lead anchors that are coming in and just destroying the box office, proving to the world that that's not what we need, is a prominent white guy being the lead role in a film. It could be anyone at this point, and I love that idea. And it feels like they're and it sounds bad, but it feels like Paramount's trying to kind of grab onto that very fast, unlike the more natural approach that other companies have had. Because, like, you know, first of all, Disney's retconning something, which I think is beautiful, with the Mandarin, right? They are trying to make it proper now because the fans were not happy with how the origin of the Mandarin was in what is it, Iron Man 2? No, Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3.
No,
people were not happy with that, so now they're actually going back and actually making the Ten Rings something important. They might actually have an Asian actor playing the Mandarin, which I just don't like the name, because the name's a little eek, but still, nonetheless, they are trying to do that. They're trying to, like, retcon / make it something more and different, which I think is going to be a cool idea. Like I said, the new one that's coming out. It's not the Immortals. Oh my god, what's it called?
The Eternals.
The Eternals. Thank you. The Eternals cast is like is beautiful. Like you have first of all Kumail Nanjiani, which I love. I love Kumail Nanjiani. Dude's a great comedian and a great serious actor. If you ever watched the movie that he did, that was about him and how him and his wife have first met, I would, if you haven't watched that, I would highly recommend it. I just can't process what the name of the movie is right now.
Big Sick.
The Big Sick. Thank you. That movie is such a master. Oh, I love it. I love it. I would recommend anyone watching that. But it's got like Angelina Jolie. It's got
Selma Hayek.
My God, so many actors. Such like, I hate using the term diverse, but a diverse cast. It is a cast that is normal now to see, and I absolutely love it. I am so for that. But
going off on a bit of a tangent, have you seen all the memes and theories and shit about Kumail Nanjiani and taking steroids?
Yeah, so this has been a big thing lately, just in Hollywood in general, where people are not happy about how these actors are achieving these physiques, either very fast or some people are saying unnaturally. So they think that a lot of people are using PEDs, like performance-enhancing drugs, to get those physiques. There are people like Chris Hemsworth who now launched a whole fitness application called, I think it's called Center or something like that, where he's like, I will take you through my workout that I did for Thor 4 to get as big as I am. But people are still like, yeah, okay, come on, bro. What's the last step? Stab yourself with the needle with some steroids? Like, whoa, like people are just... I think the audience is now believing that every single actor, including Kumail Nanjiani, for those who don't know, got super slim and fit. Like, the man is, like, to say that his chin could cut diamond is an understatement. Like, the man is the perfect triangle.
The thing with Kumail Nanjiani, that the pictures that people were always posting were that the entire structure of his face changed.
Yeah.
Like you can see straight up where his jawline has. It looks like it's changed his jawline, and so people are sharing those pictures with pictures of him before and saying, okay, there's no way there wasn't steroids involved. Like him getting jacked is one thing, but him getting jacked and his face kind of changing is another. And they're saying that that's with steroids. I don't know enough about steroid use and the effects of it, or people getting that jacked. So I'm not sure whether or not to believe it, but I do believe there probably is a lot of actors out there who are claiming to be a natural, but they're probably getting a bit of help.
Probably cheating.
Well, here's the thing. Here's honestly, this might sound controversial. Honestly, I don't. It's just if you're going for a film role and you need to get buff and you're going to use PEDs, I don't fucking care. Go ahead. Like, it's your life. You're not entering any competitions, or you're claiming that you're an all natural bodybuilder. I could really care less. If this is what you need to do to fit the role, to look the part, whatever, fuck, go ahead. It's the moment that you're like, and again, this is not me saying that Chris Hemsworth uses PEDs or steroids or whatever. We have someone in chat, Zach, who is a gym nut. He follows a lot of people for fitness and whatnot, and he's saying in chat that Chris is natural. He's a natural bodybuilder, because you can actually tell when people use PEDs or other stims. And I will take Zach is someone I would consider a knowledgeable person in this field. I would believe him 100%. But again, if he were to be, getting those giant arms because he's using whatever performance enhancing drugs he needs, I don't fucking care. Just don't go and tell him you did it naturally. Again, need to state, I'm just using Chris Hemsworth as an example. I'm not saying that he uses drugs. I'm saying if he were to, I don't care. Just don't tell me you're doing it naturally. That's all I care about. Don't lie to the public to say that, hey, as an example, if you buy this program that I made or whatever to get as jacked as I am, you will get those results. Because he also includes a diet. He includes, his routines, how much he works out. It's all there. But if you were to tell me at the end, oh, by the way, you need to use drugs, fine, you're honest. But if he's saying in the whole thing, this is the clean way of doing this, don't lie to me. If he does indeed use drugs, I'm not saying that he does. But there are other people that you can, like Zach has said, you can tell just by the veins, the mass, the growth that they have, the cut of the muscles. You can really tell what it is. And also for Camille Nanjiani, the man had a chubby face, okay? He lost a lot of fat. So all the fat went like that. When I was working out, when I was training for fights, one of the first places that I lost all my weight in was in my face. Where I got, like, my face is already shaped with a pin, like a very thin point chin. That being said, when I lost weight, it did start doing this. Like, I started to lose these little rosy-ass cheeks. Like, it was thinning out, right? And it's also very important to state, people will build muscles differently because of their body types and because of their genetics. Some people have what is called, the Herculean gene, where you will just naturally look big and buff. It's just in your body. It's in your genomes. Like, for Christ's sakes, it's in your X and Y's. But some will work and work and work. Like myself, my build, if I were to push my build, I am not going to be as big as my brother, as an example. Michael, you have seen pictures of my brother before. He is literally like jacked wide because he has a very broad, he has very broad shoulders. So the muscle builds like that. If I were to do this, I would thin out and I would have more of a lean build. Clearly, I don't have that, as you can tell by these, but that's what would happen. All right? Those would be my options.
Yeah, I kind of relate to that because I used to go to the gym pretty hard. I am very naturally just completely skin and fucking bone. When I graduated high school, I'm the height I am now, so I'm like 6'1", 6'2", and I weighed 130 pounds when I graduated high school. 130 pounds on 6'2" is fucking nothing. Yeah. And the like 9 month period after I graduated high school, I went hard with the gym. I was doing the protein shakes. I was eating fucking like 6 eggs a day and just crazy amounts of food. And it was a massive difficulty for me to put on even like 30 pounds, which I ended up doing. So yeah, it's fucking difficult for a lot of people to put on that kind of mass.
So speaking of like weight loss and bodyweight, bodybuilding and all that, I don't know what happened. A couple of weeks ago, maybe, before Tracy left, I was visiting all the old SSN Podcast videos because I wanted to remember how something had happened with Lib. I think we talked about it last week. Anyways, the training video of Lib holding the pads, me punching him and stuff, and him being like, "Oh my god, like I'm more afraid of that than it is of everything else." Oh yeah, because that's the story when I told I almost knocked someone out, and then they had a seizure. That's right. Yep.
Seizure fists.
Yeah, seizure fists. Yeah, my superhero powers. But more specifically, after the video, I don't think I talked about this part, but I was watching my arms, like specifically my forearms, and I was watching them. I'm like, man, like, my God, he used to have huge forearms. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, watch this video. There's the fight videos, but then there's other videos where we're sitting on the chairs, and like the way that my arms position, I'm like, just look how big they are. Like, my God, like I want those again. And I'm like, I used to have like more muscle mass in my biceps, and like I was talking, like, look at my legs. I'm like, she's like, your calf muscles are the same. I'm like, but they're not. I could tell where the difference is. I could see I used to have fucking veins in my legs and stuff. And like, I could kill people with my legs. I can't do that anymore. Like, I could crush watermelons between my legs and stuff. Like, I was that strong with them. It's all gone.
There's some Patreon content.
Fuck, dude. And it is to the point now where like the moment the gym's open again and my academy is safe to go to, like I am hitting it as hard as I fucking can. Like, I need to be back in that shape for 2 reasons. One, it's the same idea that why I got in shape years and years ago was so that I don't have to be out of breath chasing my youngest. So at that time was Sam. I want to be able to play with him for hours and hours and hours and not just die in the middle of the fucking park. And now it's the same with Felix. I want to be able to try to have that experience with him as well. And then 2, I want to fight again. And if I want to fight again, I need to get at least into the shape I was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where I was like, I was leaning out at 260 and I was still losing more and more weight. I need to get back to that, and I could just wreck house. That is like my goal. And then now that I have people like Zach in my life, as a friend, I can actually ask him for specific workouts to work on specific body parts, which is going to be really nice. speaking of body parts, or speaking of bodies, this is another terrible segue, but I gotta do it anyways. It leads into a specific body, a piece of shit body. This is getting a bit more serious, and I'm sorry, but it's got to be brought up. A serial rapist, Bill Cosby, got out of jail through a technicality. For those who don't know, basically, the way that for those who don't know all, Bill Cosby has been in jail for the past, I don't know how many years now, not long enough, because of an alleged, which was pretty much convicted as truthful, sexual assault, rape towards a woman that he had drugged and taken advantage of while she was asleep. This had happened years ago that it finally came into light. A lot of this happened when Hannibal Buress had that one line in his comedy where they talked about, like, hey, does everyone forget that fucking, Bill Cosby raped multiple women and drugged them? Which blew up Hannibal Buress's career for putting light on that, which then women felt brave enough to come out and talk about their experiences with Bill Cosby. He got to the point where he actually was convicted, put to jail. Through a stupid technicality, which, as best as I can sum up right now, was he said this one thing in court while it was recorded, but it was used against him in this certain way that was not okay. He got released. And now he cannot be tried again for the same crime, because that's our justice system, or at least their justice system. And
same with us.
The man got away scot-free. I understand he's like 80-some years old. I don't care. A rapist is a rapist. And it disgusts me that something like that has happened where he can get out and now live his life with his finances and everything else as if nothing as wrong had ever happened. Especially because he never even fucking apologized for his crimes. It's disgusting. And I'm so sad that that is something that happened. I know that this is a very serious note. I am sorry about that, but it has to be brought up. And I hope that something else happens to you, sir, that will put you back in jail, because you do not deserve to be free. You do anything like that, and I know about it, you're filth. You're just fucking filth. And I never want to see your face ever again. I won't, and this is, I'm sure a lot of people already agree to this. There's a reason why I don't even joke about, like, the pudding pops jokes. I don't put any gifts about Bill Cosby. I don't do any of that shit. I don't want to support this man in any way physically possible. I won't do the voice. I won't do nothing like that. That's just, the less we can talk about him, and I'm talking about it now because this is a current news event. Just, you're a terrible human being. That's all I could say. And if you guys want to pitch in, you can go ahead and say stuff. I don't want to put words in your mouths. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. It's totally fine. I needed to say this right now.
Fuck Bill Cosby. That's about it. That's all I got.
Pretty much it too. Yeah.
All right.
I can die for all I can.
Yeah. All right. Now, going from a serious tone to trying to throw a joke in to lighten the mood, we're going to talk about our last topic, Marvel. For those who don't know, Black Widow has recently been released, and for the most part, a lot of people have enjoyed the film. Most critics, I think right now it's sitting on like an 83% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And again, for those who don't know, Rotten Tomatoes works in the way that it doesn't mean that everyone has given it like an 83 out of whatever, or like an 8 out of 10. All it means is that out of all the 83% of all the reviewers who have reviewed this film have given it a passable grade, so like a 6 or above, I believe is what the system is. That's all that means.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that everyone is saying that this is like an 8 out of 10, almost a 9 out of 10. It just means that 83% of all reviewers have given us at least a passable grade. This is not to diminish the work of the film or anything, but it is, some of the YouTubers that I watch who review films have critiqued this one thing about not just the film in general, but something that Marvel is very known for, that people used to praise, that is now, I think, has gotten a bit of a problem, where they put comedy or try to supply levity in situations where it just kind of needs to breathe and just needs to be a serious note. In example, this is not a spoiler alert, because if you know anything about Black Widow, you should already know what I'm about to talk about. But her quote-unquote sister in the film gets a oh my god, I keep forgetting the term. Hysterectomy, thank you. As opposed to histogram, I'm like, that's not right. but a hysterectomy, which means that her genitals are removed to be able to produce, like her fallopian tubes are removed to be able to produce babies, because that's what the Black Widow, like the program that she was in of Assassins, that's what they do to make sure that there's no problems, there's nothing in the way to build the perfect female assassin. Well, I guess there's a moment in that where she tells that to her father, played by is it David Harbour. And there's a joke that's supplied there. Instead of letting it being a very surreal, like heart-to-heart moment for father and daughter, he makes a joke, and then everyone laughs it off, and then an action scene happens because they can't let this be a thing for too long. And I guess that's been an overall problem that a lot of people are having within the Marvel franchise. That everything except for, like, I think Infinity War and Endgame, even Endgame kind of had some levity moments, but it felt a bit more natural, especially when it was like with like Thor and the Guardians. Like, it kind of, those are the characters, that's who they are. But it's become more of a thing now, of a crutch for Marvel, a lot of people believe, where instead of being a serious moment, they have to throw in something for the kids, or to make sure that it's not too, don't worry, it's okay, we're still in the fun time Avengers, like, oh crap, Cap said a bad word, let's not forget that, let's let him ring it in. It is this idea of, is it going too far now? And I'm kind of looking for your perspectives here. So let's start off with Colin.
I don't know if I would say it's going too far, because that's always been a thing with Marvel movies. People were saying the same thing back when the original Avengers came out. It was about the tone of the series and about how the movies know what they are. They know that they're not trying to get too overly serious, and the only ones that were very serious, the only ones that were leaning more towards serious, were the bigger hyper event films, the Infinity War and Endgame. But these movies know what they are. They know they have to be superhero movies, and they have to be sellable. And I feel like things that the fact that we find an issue with it, because I'll admit it does bother me at times as well. But Larcher, you and I find issue with it because we're film students. We watch a lot of movies. We study movies a lot. We look at movies through a lens that a lot of people don't. A lot of people go into these movies wanting just big dumb fun time, like, oh, watch it. Oh, maybe it has a little bit of character depth, a little bit of things here, but then, oh, hey, they're fighting the bad guys. That's what most people are watching these movies for. That's what most people are watching these movies for. So they know what they have to be. So they know they have to add those moments in, whether from our point of view, whether it's from better or worse, they need to be sellable at the end of the day.
Yeah,
because that's what gets butts and seats.
Michael, what do you think, buddy? You are the non-partial member in all this, because again, you have not gone to film school. You don't really necessarily watch all the Marvel films. So, but you have experience, I believe, what we've talked about. So I'm kind of curious as to what your point of view is here.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the Marvel, is because of these moments where they've got, instead of letting it sit and be as serious as it should be, they've got that funny joke, right? Like, it's different at the end of, like, the Avengers. Okay, yeah, let's go for shawarma, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of a funny thing at the end of it, right? Kind of a nice little, haha, breather, they've won, they can chill out. But, like, just some of the moments, I can't even remember them. I just don't care. It's out of place for me as a watcher. I mean, that's why I've always liked Man of Steel, for example. I find Man of Steel way more entertaining because it's all serious. The whole thing is serious. I mean, the guy loses his father. I feel like crying at that moment, right? Whereas in Marvel, dad dies. Let's make a joke about it. Aha. And now I'm just like, okay, well, as serious as that should have been, I should have been crying. Now I'm kind of like, okay, bye. So it's one of my big pet peeves with a lot of. That's why I never really liked Deadpool. I know a lot of people love Deadpool. I just can't get into it because it's all a joke. The whole thing is a joke. Oh, the guy loses his arm. Oh, it's no big deal. Ha 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 ha. Right? Where I'm kind of it needs to be serious. If it's a serious moment, it needs to be serious. It needs to fit with the situation, not just make a big joke out of it.
So, a couple of points. Deadpool is nothing serious. There's nothing, like, the whole film is nothing serious. I'm okay with being slapstick comedy stuff. I'm fine with it. I love it. I think it's again, a lot of people say this, but it's the role that Ryan Reynolds was born to play. Quite literally, like, he does an awesome job. with that. A good example, I think, of levity with seriousness. It's the opposite way, where instead of having a serious moment, then they break it with levity. Is what's still one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It is the moment where Yondu descends down, or he says, like, I think it's around the same scene where he's like, I'm marrying I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, like, yeah, like he's all celebrating and all that stuff. But then, like, not that long after that, when he lands, him and Star-Lord don't have they're missing a jetpack, whatever it is, for them to ascend to the ship and survive. And he has this moment, and it's still, even thinking about it now, it still kind of brings a tear to my eye. And it's this moment where he says, like, the planet, what the fuck the guy's name is anymore, I can't remember, but the guy,
Ego.
Yeah, Ego. I was about to say Kurt Russell. Ego may have been your father, but he ain't your daddy. And then he sacrifices himself, shooting out into space, and, like, making sure that Chris Pratt lives and he dies. Oh my god, dude! It is James Gunn flipped the script in a sense where instead of having a moment of seriousness into levity, after that point, it's all serious. It is heartbreaking. And it sucks, and it's this, like, there isn't the closest thing to levity. Honest, I can't even think about it, because, like, after that, it's a celebration of Yondu's life. You have all these people who are heartbroken and stuff, and it's not even a moment of levity, but it is a moment of silliness, but it is a moment of levity where it's like Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, becomes, like, the captain, and Sean Gunn, the character, I can't remember his name, literally is like, what do we do next, Captain? Like, and it's this moment of, like, acceptance of, like, this is Star-Lord's role now with the Ravagers and all that, and I think it's so well done. You have the moment with the fireworks, and you have, like, Sylvester Stallone and all of them, Michael Rosenbaum as the Diamond Dude. They're all paying respects to Yondu. Oh my god! And even before that, and again, this is also me just kind of, like, crying, like, just spilling my love for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The moment where everything's, like, super bright and wonderful. And, like, Kurt Russell talks about, like, yeah, like, I loved your mother. I loved her so much, and that's why I had to put the tumor in her brain. And then that moment breaks. And it's that kind of that almost levity part, because Chris Pratt's like, what? And Kurt Russell's like, I know what it sounds like. And he just fucking destroys Kurt Russell, Star-Lord does, with the guns. It just blows him to pieces. And it's that moment of, like, fuck, yeah, like, good. He's being so serious right now. Like, I love it. It's that flip, because, like, this whole fucking, the Guardians story is basically based on Star-Lord and accepting his mother's death, but still how it affects him, how he was taken away moments before she left because he wasn't strong enough to say goodbye to her and hold her hand. And to have that culminate in that moment, to find out the reason why she died is because Ego literally implanted a tumor in her brain. Oh my god, dude. Oh.
While I agree, that was a very, very nice moment. I will say one thing that kind of took me out of it a little bit right after that was right after Star-Lord starts shooting Ego, he turns into David Hasselhoff. He's like, I picked the form that was most suited to you, and then and like,
you're absolutely
that took me out of it. And then there was another moment later when, like, they were doing the fight scene, and then Star-Lord turns into Pac-Man in the middle of the fight. And that was another moment of, like, really?
But see, and then that's that issue of, like, the levity being might being a bit too much, right? Of trying to prove to you that no, we can be funny and serious. And I think it's one of the reasons why I really appreciate the new Batman movie that's coming out, where it doesn't look like there's even a hint of that. It is, and that's one of the things that, you know, DC started doing, which I was a little bit afraid of, where they started to bring in these very outlandish cartoonish characters, like in the original Wonder Woman, like her crew of bandits, of misfits that she had. You had a very exaggerated, like, Irish alcoholic. You had the one dude with the giant mustache who's in everything. He's a very prolific secondary actor, who's like, oh, I just want to fight stuff because I'm an American, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And, like, you had all these very stereotypical cast members, but the film itself was still kind of serious. But they tried to implement the jokes. Obviously, Joss Whedon's version of Justice League had a lot of that, and it did not land well at all.
Nope.
They're like, oh, well,
landed like Flash on Wonder Woman's boobs.
Yeah,
not
like
well.
It's all unfortunate. But it is this idea that I think DC has finally figured out, especially with for the release of Joker, even Joker was funny. It wasn't a haha funny. It was like a, oh god, this is uncomfortable. Like I'm just laughing because I don't know what to do moment. Like that's I think they finally found their niche, and I hope they continue with it. Aquaman was Fast and the Furious in water, so fine. They can continue that with that, because I'll be honest, that dude was never meant to have a serious role. Jason Momoa, like the Aquaman character, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not saying Jason Momoa isn't meant to have a serious role. I'm saying the character, the way that they've portrayed him, you have to have levity, I believe, with him.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a surfer bro, you know what I mean? And he drinks, and he loves life too much. You know what I mean?
That should have been almost a Deadpool-esque kind of movie, honestly, in my opinion.
I kind of disagree. I feel like there could be a lot more serious moments with Aquaman, even though he does have that surfer bro type thing to him, and Jason Momoa it can be really funny. He has a good comedic timing. Yeah. I feel like he could have some more serious moments. I think for the Aquaman franchise, I think levity is almost a necessity. I wouldn't mind seeing more serious stuff. I think that'd be kind of fun. Like, I like the relationship he had with oh my god, I feel bad because I forgot this actor's name and I love him to death. The one who plays Ocean Master. Yeah, pardon? Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson, thank you. Yeah, like I love Patrick Wilson, and like the when they had their serious moments, I felt it, because you have two great actors just fucking banging it out. Like, it was very well done. And it is just more like, I want to see more of that, and hopefully in the next Aquaman we will, or we need an Aquaman 3 when there's a redemption arc for Ocean Master or something. I think that'd be really cool and great to have. But it does also, if they're continuing with, what is it, Justin Lin, if I'm not mistaken, who was the director for Aquaman. Yes. If he's still on board, he brings that Fast and Furious vibes, because I mean that's what really made him popular. He brought that with Aquaman, and I feel like it's going to continue if they do Aquaman 2 and 3 with him. That's how it is. And then you have other films like, we'll say, Shazam. Shazam has to have levity, because he's a fucking kid, right?
Yeah.
And it's a kid. A kid has to be bright and sunny, but still have very dark moments, like we've seen in the very first Shazam, which David F. Sandberg, I believe, is the director's name. If you are a horror, if you're a lover of horror films, I would highly recommend that you watch Lights Out, either the short that's on his channel, or the film itself. It is really, really good. Or Annabelle Creations. Annabelle Creations is actually the only good Annabelle film, and it was made by him. He destroyed my expectations of Annabelle Creations. But anyways, he is a horror director, prominently. That's what he's known for. And was able to kind of take that serious and levity and kind of mix it pretty well together. It's interesting what they're going to do with the next one, because I think the next one will have Black Adam in it. If I'm not mistaken, Shazam 2 will have Black Adam. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But, I hope DC does keep more of a serious tone than anything else, especially with their side projects, like their Elseworlds, as I'll call them. Because Joker is an Elseworld. It's not our Joker, because Jared Leto Joker is still a thing. Especially now, thanks to like the Snyderverse cut of Justice League. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And I just overall, I like the idea that there are two sides of the coin. DC could be a bit more serious, more for the adults, you know what I mean? And then you have your general public, everyone can enjoy these films. I hope they continue that trend, in all honesty. That's just my biggest my rant on that.
I agree.
All right, perfect. With that, I think that's what we're going to call the episode of the SSN Podcast. Thank everybody for joining us. It has been a great experience. Unfortunately, there will not be a post show today. I have to set up a couple things for prescriptions to pick up and set stuff up for tonight as well. So thank everyone for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I believe us as a group, we had a good time today, this afternoon. Yeah. So we'll love y'all. We'll talk to you later, and continue being you. All right. Bye.
Bye.